Welcome again to Dashcam Diary of a Disabled. I am done with my chiropractor appointment. I just got done with that. And I just can't mention enough how much a chiropractor saves my life. He saves me so much pain and suffering for longer bouts of time. It's truly amazing what the body can do, and if you only listen to it. You've got to listen to your body. You need to ground yourself. Your body is always trying to tell you things. I was actually just reading up on a couple things this morning about auto-inflammatory markers and some really deep research, medical terminology stuff, interleukin things, IL-1, IL-6. I can't even begin to describe in normal terminology what any of that is. I just read a lot about a lot of nerdy, deep research, cellular, smaller than cellular level type things. I try to be as much of a biohacker as possible. I want to learn biology and human anatomy and know all about how things are supposed to work and figure out why mine is not working that way. What is the underlying driver behind it all? I mean, I know the majority of it. I really do with my problems. I really think I have figured out exactly where I'm tethered this morning too. It would only make sense that where I was having an extreme amount of pain and where I have a lot of problems with problems along my spine, where I get adjusted, where my pain pattern lies, how I go about getting adjusted each time is completely different from one appointment to the next. There are maneuvers that he does on me that aren't even really technically maneuvers. There's so much to learn about EDS and how we're different from the regular population, and it is absolutely freaking amazing that I can communicate so well about where my pain is, what I think he should do, what I want him to attempt. And his favorite thing to tell me is, your wish is my command. My chiropractor is the most gentle. He barely has to adjust me. He doesn't even have to put pressure on me sometimes. Sometimes all he has to do is just hold me in that position, and I take a deep breath, and boom, it's right back in place. It doesn't take much at all to adjust me some days. Some days we had to beat me the F up and try coming at me from several different angles, and sometimes it just won't go. I had too much inflammation and too much muscle spasm that it's just locked itself into the wrong position, and it just won't budge no matter what I do. It's all about being stress-free too. Stress plays a major role in pain and muscle spasm and things being out. It is all connected. It's all connected, people. The less stress, the better. But there is a good amount of, there's such a thing as good stress and bad stress. There's stress, and then there's called distress. Distress is where you're feeling hopeless and out of control. But it's okay to have a regular amount of stress, because that also helps keep my things in place, because my ligaments are a little bit too loose and lax. And since that's a major problem, especially in women, I think that's why women are way more affected by EDS, is because of the laxy-loosey ligaments. And there's nothing you can do except for surgery intervention to just like tighten those mother truckers. Really, there's just nothing you can do with soft tissue issues, connective tissue issues, except for what's so devastating about this is that I know I need surgery. And it's hard not to be anxious about it because it's like, who the heck am I going to get to operate on me? Because now I don't have a neurosurgeon. And now I have a different insurance. And so I have to figure out how to get a different insurance company covered for surgery. I don't know if Medicare is going to like me having my tether cord surgery because it is kind of controversial and not very many doctors do it, but the ones that do it, that's all they do is tether cord surgeries. There's one in Oregon that I know is really good, but she doesn't accept insurance. Well, my insurance in particular, I believe. I don't think she takes Medicare at all. Even with the VA, I don't know if I would be able to be even accepted to get the surgery. I don't know. I won't know until I look more into it, but I'm not going to stress about that so much about that right now because it's not like I can have surgery next month. I'm going on vacation. I'm getting the MRIs done at the beginning of the month, but even the MRIs may not show my tether. It may not even show it. And that's devastating because without a neurosurgeon backing me up trying to convince insurance that I need to have surgery, I don't know how good this set of MRIs is going to go. Not having a neurosurgeon to be able to look at it and discover whether or not I really do in fact have tethered cord. I know I do. And it only makes sense with what I learned today in my adjustment about the location of where it might be tethered at. And it makes sense that it would be tethered at that transition of lumbar and thoracic, because that's where a lot of my pain was today. And I'm just going to have to pay attention, and I'm just going to have to document and remember, journal basically, but I'm doing my video journal this way right now. Hopefully I'll remember to write that down in my journal later. But I'm collecting my evidence now in my brain so I can help convince doctors or get the right referral to a doctor that will take my concerns seriously, listen to what I have to say and what I've learned through all my adjustments with my chiropractor before and after this fall. The fact that I felt my spinal cord get injured during my fall because I felt the pain of my entire spinal cord. It very well could have, due to that injury, it could have very well attached in multiple spots along my spine. I think it attached at the junction where my thoracic and lumbar attaches. So L1 and T, I think it's 12. I don't know how many thoracics there are. I think there's 12. I'm not positive. Don't quote me. It's been a while since I've looked at that. I just know top of lumbar and then the bottom of the thoracic. That's the major transition and trunk of my body. And I have a bulge in my lower at like L2, 3. So I now have that bulge. Not pressing on nerves. That's why I'm not a surgery candidate. But if I have my spinal cord tethered, that would definitely explain all the pain that I feel around the bulges and in between the bulges, between my lumbar and thoracic and my cervical. Because it's at both those transitions at T1 and C6, C7, or C7 and T1, that juncture right at the neck falls into how I landed with my left arm, how it could have messed up that transition between neck and thoracic, and then the transition between thoracic and lumbar is also an issue now between the bulges. So I have a bulge in my neck, a bulge in my thoracic, and a bulge in my lumbar now. Prior to my fall, I only had a cervical bulge. And before, I didn't have as many problems with my lower back. I've had that better control ever since my fall, things have just been so uncontrollable. I've had extreme amounts of pain in between all of the bulges. And none of the pain signals make any sense to anything physical that is seen on MRI. Except for if it's not seen on MRI, and that's why I'm getting specific MRI to find out for sure whether it's tethered. But it's like an hour and a half MRI. I need to find out if they can do it under sedation this time, because I cannot lay still for that amount of time in pain. I guess it's making me upset thinking about it. I just don't know if it's really going to turn out. I feel like I'm going to need to be sedated for it. And I feel like I'm going to need to be sedated. I feel like this is only going to be the first set of tethered cord MRIs I'm going to request. I think I'm going to need a second set, and I think I'm going to need to be sedated, because I think the first set will not show what I needed to show. I just have this damn inkling of a feeling it won't show it. And unless I get a damn neurosurgeon that really knows their stuff about tethered cord and are willing to be a compassionate doctor and operate, I mean, I really do need to find like a surgery happy surgeon. Like, I really need to find one that's going to listen, because it's so damn, it just only makes sense at those places where I'm getting a lot of the pain, at those transition points, thoracic 1, the bottom of cervical. My spinal cord is bunched up in between those spots at times, and I feel like it's just stuck somewhere, and I feel like a lot of it is in my bottom rib area. It takes so much time to try and figure this stuff out and to understand how the body works, where those transitions are, this connective tissue, the muscles, the ligaments, to understand where in my body these pain signals are originating from, why they're originating. And I know why is because my spinal cord is under too much pressure. There's too much pressure on my spinal cord in several spots. And I feel like it's just too tight, and it needs to be cut loose. It's been injured. And I think it created scar tissue at those injury sites, at those transitions. And that's why I think I might have tethered in 2 spots, twice the 1. I feel like it could be in my neck, and I feel like it could be in the trunk of my body. I just know it. I just know it's got to be. I know my body too well, and to be able to communicate what I do to my chiro and to kind of get these ideas, you know, he agrees. It only makes sense. Like when I failed those transition spots and I was just slightly turned, and any damage to the spinal cord, like it only makes sense. I don't know how to talk logic into some of these doctors, because some of them just won't even listen. But I'm on the verge of figuring this out. I really do feel like I'm tethered, and I feel like it's 2 spots. But if it's not 2, it's just 1. It's got to be. I've got no other answers. There's no other reasonings behind what I'm feeling and how bad I'm feeling it, and on the regular. It just doesn't make sense. And so the best I can do is just keep myself as stress-free and anxious-free as possible. But it's stressful trying to find a doctor, and especially navigating through medical PTSD and not trusting anybody in the medical field because they just don't listen. It is what it is. I'm at Dutch Brothers, so I gotta pause 1 sec. Alright, Stormy's got her pup cup, and I got my small little blended Rebel. I really don't need the caffeine today. It's probably just going to make my anxiety a little bit more uppity. My anxiety is only because it's a adjustment day. We got so much to move and a lot of changes in my body, so it makes my body that much more susceptible to going out, and it scares me. And so every little pop and movement, I'm just like, it makes me scared to move, because I'm scared of going out again, because it's so easy to do. on days I get adjusted. There's really nothing I can do to get myself to be more stable besides get my muscles to tighten up. And so my body naturally amps itself up with cortisol and adrenaline to keep me in the fight or flight response in order to keep my muscles from being too relaxed. And it's the only way, the pain is the only way to keep me from being in worse pain, really. It sucks. It's a catch-22. I have pain, but I have to keep my muscles in spasm a little bit, just a little bit, either by anxiety or my body's natural response to pain signals. So it's really going to be helpful for me to use my new app as soon as I can when I get home, so I can de-escalate my sympathetic nervous system, because it's naturally ramping up on its own because of adjustment day, and it just keeps me more mindful at the front of my mind. And so that's another reason why I take the pain medication, to help numb the pain signals, even though the pain signals are what helps keep us alive and keep us in the fight or flight response. The binaural sound meditation and walkthrough is going to help me calm that sympathetic nervous system, which has my body ramped up right now, which has my nervous system on edge, which gives my immune system more reason for autoimmunity on flares and inflammation. It's a whole process. It's a whole thing. It's hard. It's hard to manage. I have to stay in muscle spasm in order to prevent further worse muscle spasm and pain. And so my body's in the state of like fight or flight response a lot. Not by any fault of my own. I'm trying to stay stress-free. I do things to distract myself. I do my hobbies that I love. I do things that make me happy. So I try to keep myself balanced without having to take the medication. But the medication is a game changer. I need it right now. There's just not enough anxiety pills to keep my immune system, nervous system at bay, because it naturally is ramping up. And I can't get it to calm down on its own without having to do this other, like this meditation stuff. This deep breathing. Those binaural sounds are going to help relax my muscles, but I don't want to do it too much. Just like with yoga or with like massage, it's not great for EDS people, because your muscles are the only thing that are keeping things in place, because your ligaments are too lax and too loose. And so your muscles are the only thing that can help you. And so muscle tone is really important for EDS, and that's why Pilates is an amazing workout for EDSers. It's based on core strength, and if you can have a major good toned core, that really does help keep you stable. And that was one thing that kept me stable in the military, is I had the strong core. I had the strongest core, but really weak thighs, basically. My thighs have always been a thing. The front of my thighs have never gotten enough workout. I had the reverse muscles that were in better shape. And I know that now, looking back at all of it now, I'm just like, gosh, it makes sense why I wasn't symptomatic with EDS or pain for a long time, because I was in shape. But it was also because of that high impact running and things to get into shape that caused me to become symptomatic. Because I stretched my ligaments and hurt myself and did things that I shouldn't have done, because I pushed through. I pushed through the pain. And the pain is a signal telling you to stop. And when you don't stop the thing that's causing you the pain, then it's not really going to benefit you. It's not gonna help. It's gonna be counterproductive. So, I find that my major problems really are those transition places in my body, in the spine. The transverse area from cervical to thoracic, from thoracic to lumbar. I've got to be headed in those spots. I just got to be. It's where I have the most tension and pain. Especially when I'm not taking painkillers. I feel myself unsteady. I feel it in my left side. My ligaments on my left ribs in the 10th rib area are trying to pull out of place because I was holding the phone for a minute on the dash. I need to do the reverse movement, stretch my body back, twist the opposite direction. Get that stress to come off. Belly breathe. Alright, I gotta help this calm down. Oh, that sucks. That hurts. Alright, I gotta go, guys. I love you. Peace out, y'all. Smile.